Hello, Reds from across the world. Thank you so much for joining me here this afternoon. I am so overjoyed to welcome these three wonderful Reds. I include myself in that, and then the other one, and that's Barry. Thank you so much from wherever you're watching. From wherever you're watching, we appreciate you coming in. And please sound off in the comments everything we're going to be discussing today. Give us your opinions because we love a bit of feedback. And also, wherever you're watching it, go to YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel, all that sort of stuff. But we're here to talk about RB Leipzig. I was trying to remember, do I call them Red Bull Leipzig? But apparently that's not what they're called. They're only 10 years old and you can't upset children. So,
well,
especially at Christmas. So we have sorry, Ben's going to kill me he's going to kill me because I'm going to mess up his catchphrase. But of course, this is the 3-point preview and you can't look forward to a game unless you're looking forward to 3 points. You're welcome, Ben. I'm not sure. I think I added a couple of words there.
Yes, you did. But, why not? Artistic flair, Joe.
Artistic flair. If anyone's allowed to do that, it's me. Barry's not allowed to do that when he's doing surgeries. I don't think that's really allowed. But, hey, that's your line of profession. We won't quote you on that. But, guys...
we improvise, Joe. We improvise as we go along sometimes.
Oh my God, that is terrifying. Luckily, Barry's based in South Africa.
I'm never gonna book you in then, Barry.
Yeah, this is what I mean. This is why we sent him down there.
No, guys, let me just reassure you. You sometimes have to work outside the guidelines. You never know what you're going to be faced with. So you got to be ready to improvise. It's like being a Man United supporter.
So more thinking on your feet, not just cowboy surgery, Barry. Hopefully,
100%.
Anyway, lads, that's a touching on Barry's necromancering he does in South Africa. So we are doing the 3-point preview, as I just said. We'll be looking forward to the game we have coming up in Germany, where actually I said it was a 3-point preview, and we always look forward to 3 points. But in this very specific game, we only need 1 point, which we needed last week as well. So we move forward, and I think the best way to move forward is by looking back. We go into this game, basically you could say last week was a draw for us, 3-1 we beat West Ham 3-1 and we lost to PSG 3-1. Mark, I'll go to you first. How do you think that will affect us going into the Leipzig game?
Yeah, I think... it's after you lose any game, it's always a bit of a struggle. Hopefully, they've got the mentality. I think there are, 9 possible outcomes, and we need to have 6 of those in order to qualify. So, I you know what? I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I am fairly confident. I do think, as we've seen on many occasions, when it comes to the big stage where Ollie's back is against the wall, he tends to pull it out. And whilst there's always records are always there to be broken and things are always there to go wrong, it may not go our way next week. But I truly believe that until the final whistle goes, I'm going to believe that we will, and I think we'll get a result out of it. I think we need to. I think it will cause a huge amount of unrest in the club and supporters, and Baz Mark, in the corner there.
Yeah, Mark, I'm sorry, I was going to stop you. I love the way Barry is self-promoting throughout.
Barry.
Just like, when the eyes are on Mark, suddenly, no, don't forget the people are here for. They're here to see Baz.
Yeah. Doing a bit of homework, Joe. Learning how to operate.
Playing operation on his phone. If it buzzes, that means they're dead, Barry. Sorry, Mark. Yes,
that's all right. It's fun. Yeah, I think I am fairly confident next week. I think on form in the Champions League for Leipzig, I think they're very suspect at the back. They don't have Upamecano, which is a huge loss for them. But saying that, on the flip side, Bayern struggled to get a win against them at the weekend. I think they drew 3-3, and they were very much trying to outmuscle each other. And if anyone can get a result and even a point against Bayern, I think that's something to be a little bit frightened of.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that would be my only worry, I think. But I think we'll win. I do. I think we'll get at least a point. I think stats are on our side. Statistically, we get 6 out of 9 outcomes. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to have to believe that we're going to get it.
Absolutely. We're all here to believe. But we'll come to you next. We were touching on the fact that we lost 3-1. We won 3-1 last week. But I think in a 3-1 loss with PSG, as you were very positive when we did the post-match reaction, that didn't feel like a 3-1 loss. And then the 3-1 win against West Ham didn't feel like a 3-1 win. It's a typical Manchester United week that it was.
Well, you'd have to agree, Joe. But then again, I think it did feel like it should have been a 3-1 win in the second half.
Yes.
That being the massively underlined point there.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at our form, I think, as you say, 3-1 didn't really show or reflect the actual game that we had against PSG. I think, they're always going to try and get us caught against Mbappe just for pace. And I think that Neymar, he does what he does best, doesn't he? He's probably one of the most hated players, but he brings out the skill when he wants to. So for me, I feel like we could have got a lot more out of that game. I think everyone would agree that it was a bit of a disappointment in the final result.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a mixed bag, wasn't it? Really, against West Ham.
I'm glad I wasn't on that show because I would have been far more negative than you guys.
It was far more. That you agree at the start of the game, then watch the first half and go, oh right, it's one of those games that we're looking back at, and then lo and behold, our man Rashford pulls us out again.
Yeah.
It would have to be said though. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that easy, to be honest with you. I mean, we have to think we're going to Germany. That's not an easy place. There's the fear of Europa League, which that's not going to have a good impact on anyone's season. Long journeys, battling games, but without the glory, or the sort of quality that you get in the Champions League. They've scored. They've let in 6 goals, but it's a Nagelsmann team, so 7 goals in the last 2 games, 7 different scorers. That's goals from everywhere on the pitch.
Yeah.
So, it's not just Mark 1, Mark 2 players. Yeah. And I think we know him as a tactician. And I think recently, if we're looking at Rashford and Bruno being they pulled us out of the weeds against West Ham.
Yeah.
They destroyed Leipzig when we played them. I feel like if we look back to the PSG game, Danilo marked Bruno quite brilliantly, much to our dismay, and sort of counteracted what we were trying to do, playing through. And I think, Nagelsmann's going to look at that. He's not a stupid manager by any means or arrogant. He will think, how do I get the best game plan to stop their best attack?
Yeah.
And I don't think we've got goals all over the pitch, unlike Leipzig. So tactics is going to be the key thing to watch and how this game unfolds, really. Do
you think he'll peacock again with that outrageous jacket, or is that a one-time stunt?
Well, I think just, Leipzig 0, United 5, and him in his jacket is probably a memory that will live with him for quite some time. So let's hope
us too.
Like a beige tracksuit. But who knows? As long as we get the points, I think we need to go for a win. Playing for a draw against PSG did not work, trying to nick a goal. Different outfit, but for me, we've got to go for the win. They've clearly got leaks at the back. We can beat their defenders for pace. It's got to be, for me, we have to go for the win.
Yeah. Well, Barry, onto yourself now. Oliver's saying we must go for the win. But as we've discussed more than usual, you are a doctor. Can you diagnose why we are so wonderful away from home? And why it seems to be just guaranteed that every time we go against a team that we feel like are going to put up to us away from home, we just beat them?
Yeah. Joe, medicine is an art and football is a science. So I'm not sure I can answer that question. Sorry, firstly, can you hear me okay? Because the feed is cracking
unfortunately
for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fine.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so, right. So it's been a mixed bag of a week. I have to say I'm still a little bit miffed by the result against PSG, because it's a game that we could have won. And I'm not sure whether my anger should be more directed at the player who got the red card or at the coach who didn't withdraw him. But that's been discussed, and we don't need to go down that route. But I was encouraged by the performance. I thought we played very well for much of the game against PSG. But of course, the Leipzig coach will be looking very keenly at how our defense can be broken down. And I think they'll also be looking at set pieces, where we've conceded a few goals in recent weeks, which has bothered me, and I'm sure bothers them as well. As Mark mentioned, they will be without their best defender, which augurs well for us. We can't go there looking for a draw. When you look for a draw, you're looking for problems. We must go there looking for a victory. We're good on the break. We saw them concede 3 goals in Istanbul. We saw them concede 3 goals against Bayern. So they are vulnerable at the back, and that's what we have to exploit. I am quietly confident that we will get the result that we need there, be it a draw, be it a victory. And of course, if the Turks win in Paris and we get a result there, we'll top the group.
Which won't be too bad.
You and I. What's interesting, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but to date there hasn't been a single draw in this group.
Oh, I think you're right there, actually.
You are right.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And PSG have 1-1 against each other, and Istanbul, we are the only team that fell victim to them. But I'm quietly confident that we'll go there and get a result. It would be refreshing not to go a goal behind first. I'd like to see us score first for a change.
That is a good strategy. But Mark, do you have any closing points on our first point?
Yeah, I sort of echo what everyone else has said, really. I think that we do need to start a lot quicker. I've been saying this for weeks. I feel like we're very, very off the pace in the early part of the games, and we've seen that in the last 2. I feel that we've got to start quickly. We need to get an early goal, and what everyone else has said as well is not go for the draw. I think if you play for the draw in any game, especially as Manchester United, you are playing a very dangerous game. So we have to get a win, and we need to be emphatic.
I completely agree with you. The same thing. I feel the last time we started off on the front foot was the first game against Leipzig, when the second they had tip off, and the second they started, Pogba was on top of them. They did not give them an inch, and it worked out well. So I kind of am expecting a little bit of the same.
That's another thing as well from our perspective. Sorry to interrupt, Joe.
Go ahead.
They lost against us 5-0. They have that very much firmly in their mind. So whilst we may have some negatives, absolutely, always, you always got to be sort of very cautious. They're going to have just as many, if not maybe more. So I think that will work in our favour.
That's a wonderful point. And we'll touch back. We're going to be looking more at Leipzig for a final point. But just moving on, this is probably, I think, within our fan base, one of the most hotly discussed topic, even on this channel, outside of the ridiculous Ollie in, Ollie out. But we don't even try. We try to ignore that as much as possible. But Martial, big Tony Martial, obviously was incredible last season, especially for the latter half of it. And then has just started with nothing. And I know we were discussing beforehand that apparently Cavani mightn't be fit going into the next game, but we can only look at that as hearsay at the moment. We don't have any confirmation on that. But we'll start with you, Oliver. Do you think that Martial should be starting no matter what going into the next game, or would you rather see him on the bench?
Well, I mean, it goes to the whole arm round a player, or a stern word. I think Martial needs a bit of confidence and feel like he needs the backing. I mean, there's been a lot said about this whole Martial smiling thing. Where's his smile gone? Is that having an effect? No, it doesn't. But you want to see all your players smiling, and I think for him, he needs that sort of confidence or that sort of air of happiness in his game, because you can see there's almost a different style of player. I mean, he seems to go in on himself and just go back to what he's been told in training when he's not playing that flamboyant, it's sort of license to be a flair player, which is what he is, and he is deadly at it when he's on form. I think the whole, he was great for us last year as a number 9. I loved him when he was off the left. But, it's sort of, we have to fit Rashford in there as well. Rashford plays best as a left forward. For me, if Rashford's fit, you put him at the left, left forward. But then again, I don't mind seeing Martial coming from there, because he's got the ability to get past the man, get past the big defender with a bit of skill, as opposed to just getting the ball over the top and pacing through. He's not wholly, one-dimensional in that aspect. I think the reason he keeps dropping in is because we've sort of trained him to be that sort of, link-up number 9, where drop in, take the ball. And as we've heard, he hasn't been told to do that. So whether that is him just going, right, I'm not completely full of confidence this game, I'm going to do the basics like I've been told and sort of go back into his shell, as opposed to trying the flamboyant and, getting the best out of himself. So I prefer him off the left all day. I mean, it worked brilliantly, the sort of red arrows of Greenwood, Martial and Rashford just flooding forward at pace. But I think now we've got Cavani, we don't need to have him as the number 9. It was a case of, fitting people in, really. I think Rashford did quite well off the right, to be honest with his passing. So maybe there is a way of fitting them all in if, Greenwood can be the backup then. Take the pressure off. You can have Martial off the left, Rashford off the right, Cavani through the middle, doing the hold-up and the late runs, and getting the best out of them.
Mark, Mark, for yourself, like going forward, first of all, do you want to see Martial starting? And then we can touch on after that. But for the LEIPZIG game, do you want him in there?
Yes, I think I do. I think we've been very unfair on Martial. I think we forget 7, 8, 9 years ago when Rooney, Berbatov, Hernandez all had goal droughts. But because we were in a very different position then, and we didn't have so much Twitter, it wasn't so toxic. We didn't get on the back so much. Martial is certainly a confidence player, and I think the difference between him and Rashford for me, which Martial needs to improve on, is Rashford will create something from nothing, and we've seen that. I think he's been good in the last few weeks, but I've seen him play much better. I think Rashford, his decision making still, even in the last few weeks, hasn't been great, but he does seem to get little moments where he's able to create something, whereas Martial doesn't have so much of that. He is very much of a confidence player. And regarding this whole smile thing, we've spoken about it so much. He never smiles.
Never
smiles. So that doesn't mean anything. Okay. He just needs to. And I thought maybe West Ham might have been that game. I know they're playing very well at the moment, but I felt that Martial needed a goal in swinger from cutting in against someone like West Ham, and that's what he needs. He just needs a goal or something like that to carry him forward. I think whether he starts or not, I think will be totally dependent on whether Cavani and Martial and Rashford, are fit.
Yes.
The difference for me is obviously, I think another problem that could be for him is Cavani's come in. I think Martial has made it very, very clear on many occasions that he wants to be the number 9. But actually, I don't see him as our number 9. I think he's a brilliant ball carrier. He's brilliant at link-up play. And he did score a lot of goals as a number 9 post-lockdown. But he's not that player. He's very much a ball carrier. So he still needs to come in off the wing, and I think Rashford's exactly the same. I think they're both very similar like that. Does he start? I'm not sure, but again, dependent, I think.
Yeah, depending on injuries, he might have to start. If we're fully fit, it might be a different story. But for you, Barry, what do you think? Is it best? Like, you've obviously seen far more games than we have and seen far more players than we have as well, because Barry is a lot older than all of us put together. Barry was there the opening of Newton Heath. He was the physiotherapist.
much older, Joe, and a little bit brighter than one of you, possibly. Won't say who.
Leave Mark alone.
Oh, totally no thinking.
Behave.
But Barry, for yourself, do you feel it's for Martial? Should he play through this?
I think it's academic as to whether he'll start, because he looked like he picked up a groin injury, and I don't think he'll be fit for Tuesday night, but I don't say that with any authority. If I were picking the team and he were available, he would not be in my starting lineup on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we are going to need to defend for some of the game. We need players to track back. Martial is absolutely woeful at tracking back. And when he does track back, he's languid. He doesn't get involved. He gives up. He's got that Berbatov look about him. I'm not talking about the smiles. The smiling is not part of the game. Not interested in that. But on form at the moment, he doesn't warrant a place in my team. And the problem we have is a little bit of square pegs in round holes. He's not a number 9. And I don't think you can turn him into a number 9 because he's not physically enough to hold the ball up. He's at his best coming in off the left. And I have to say, having watched United players over the years, he's probably got the quickest feet I've ever seen in a United player. And he typifies United at the moment. You just don't know what you're going to get. Is he going to put in a brilliant performance, or will he be poor? And again, coming back to the PSG game, he had 2 wonderful opportunities that he didn't capitalize on. And it's all about confidence. He's playing without confidence at the moment. If you want him to get a goal, put him in when we're playing in the League Cup or something like that. But I would not choose him for this Leipzig game. And I don't think that we're going to play with 3 front runners against Leipzig. No. I might be wrong. But certainly I think that Cavani may miss the game through injury as well, which leaves us with Greenwood and Rashford. And I have to say I'd be perfectly comfortable with those 2 up front against Leipzig. Rashford is a master of the unpredictable. I mean, in a second, he's done some amazing things. And I have to say, last night, while I was cursing him when he was one-on-one with the keeper and he hit the post, a few minutes later, he goes and scores. So he has that air about him. His pace is electric. He causes panic amongst the defenders. So in a long-winded way, my short answer is I would not choose Martial for the game on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's fair. And I'm kind of stuck in between all the 3 of you, like quite literally as well. I'm in the top corner. But I look at, I think Rashford for me is just better at Martial at just about everything. I think that's mainly down to psychologically. He's just maybe at this time of his life or whatever, he's just stronger. He's able to work through everything and make chances and make goals for himself. Even if he messes up, he will find another opportunity, and whether it's an assist or a goal, I think he'll get something. Martial, I think I know it was mentioned yesterday on the post-match reaction that he needs to go to a sports psychologist. I'm sure they have them at United, but I would advise that hugely, because he, like we were saying before, he is a confidence player, and if it's not going well, they have to find a way around it. They have to. But I would go against Barry. I would say we're not flush with attacking players. And I think the only way for someone like Martial to get out of this is by getting a goal. I don't think a goal in the League Cup counts. I think a goal against a good team counts. And because we are winning as well, I think throw him in there. And people were giving an excuse that he's missed 3 games through suspension, and that's why we should let him off, that he hasn't scored goals. He got suspended for, no matter what way Lamela went down, he hit Lamela. If you hit someone, Fred was incredibly lucky not to be sent off immediately for lashing out against, I can't remember who it was. But like, no matter what, Martial hit Lamela in the face and deserved to be sent off for that reason, even if Lamela went down like a ton of bricks. But Mark, you look like you have something very important to say.
I just think with Martial, we can't forget about. Unfortunately, you're absolutely right. I think it was Barry that said that we see some fantastic moments and then really poor moments. There doesn't seem to be any middle ground like there is with Rashford. But what I will say is, against PSG, for the missed chances, I know he missed 2, but he also set up 2 other missed chances that someone else had. I think it was Cavani and 1 other as well. So he is also good, as I said, going forward, progressive ball play, and he is vital for those things too. And I think if he's available, he will absolutely feature at some point.
I do agree with you, Mark. And I think for me, nothing will make me happier than Martial scoring, because do you know when there's like, like not my child, but I'm sure Barry, you have children and grandchild. I don't know if you have grandchildren, but if your child is unhappy and then you do something to make them smile, that's what I want from Martial. There's nothing like it in the world. So like that's all I want from Martial. I want them to score and just to be delighted and run to the no fans in the stadium and just be over the moon. I think that's what we all want as well. And I do hope it'll come. I'm like he's frustrated me a lot over the last couple of seasons, just being in and out of the squad and not being consistent. And it looked like we finally had something this last season. Didn't happen so far, but like there is a player there, and hopefully he'll find his smile, as someone said to Shawn Michaels once. WWE reference. I hope any of you get it. No, that's fair enough. Yes, thank you all. Finally, someone.
Yes, Joe, I know Shawn Michaels. My kids used to watch him.
Oh my God, Barry. Yes, Shawn Michaels was my hero. My hero. I love Shawn Michaels. Heartbreak Kid. Dead right. Sweet Chin Music, baby.
Personally, though.
I know, you know everyone else, and you have wonderful hair.
Click that, Barry.
Yeah,
I know.
If anyone,
not Shawn Michaels.
You know, Shawn Michaels. Find Barry with Barry's picture. Put your picture up with you and Mark Hughes again. You're like brothers. Like I close to say you're twins. Yeah, the hair is magnificent, magnificent. But guys, and thanks everyone for tuning in so far. We've one more point we're going to cover as well. Please get your thoughts in the comments, everything on Martial and everything what we discussed last week with our performances. And also, each of the guys are going to be posting into the YouTube their starting lineup. So please, whatever it is, please put a like on your favorite, which will be mine. Thank you very much. So just after this video is up, the guys are going to do that. So make sure to give a like and put in your own squads as well. But we talked about, we went into depth discussing us, and we touched upon Leipzig. But like, without going into what exactly, you can talk about formations, not put in your starting 11. Should we set up, like we said, Leipzig conceded 7 last week. 3 against Istanbul, Istanbul, not Besiktas, not Fenerbahce, and not Galatasaray, and conceded 3 against Bayern Munich. And I would also say they scored 7 as well. But should we be more conservative in how we set up, a la against PSG, or should we really go full frontal with Pogba, with Bruno, with everyone, or to really get at them? Because they, like Mark said, they seem weak. Mark, because is Upamecano, Mark, is he injured or is he suspended?
I think he's injured.
No, suspended. He got a yellow card.
Suspended.
I think it was. Yeah, I think he got a yellow card against Istanbul, and that meant that he was suspended for this. I'm pretty sure. So that's what it is.
Well, I know they're missing Henrik as well. Henriks and Klosterman. So that's the first choice keeper, a left back, isn't it?
But like,
they're there to react, don't they?
Yeah, but Mark, how do you think? So. Like, 1, how would you like us to set up, and then 2, how do you suspect us to set up?
I think I would. My expected and what I think. Yeah. What the expected and how I would do it are going to be exactly the same. To be honest, I think.
Lovely.
I think. He's going to set up with 2 holding midfielders again. I think he's going to have 2 just to shore up the defense. He needs to have someone. 2. You know what he likes to do? He likes to play the 4-2 and 4 defensive, 2 midfielders, and I think he'll go with that again. I think he's going to be very wary of them coming at us, and actually, I think he's going to probably set up very similar to how he did against him in the first game. Why try and fix something that doesn't need fixing? Yeah. I think he's going to do that. I think he's going to have 4 at the back. I think the usual 4. I don't know if Luke Shaw's available yet. I know that he's looking at potentially coming back soon, but I don't think he's anytime.
He's not, mate.
Mark, Karthik might watch this. Don't make him cry.
Yeah. Fortunately for him, Tillers will be starting.
Yeah. He will be missed this game, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that's why if he was available, I think he would have been played, and more actually maybe in a defensive 3 with Telles and Wan-Bissaka on the right. That's how I think Ollie would have loved to have set up. But you're absolutely right. If he's not available, then it'll be a back 4. Telles, I'm not going to go into them to too much detail. But I think he will probably have a very similar midfield to last time with Pogba. I don't think Van der Beek will start today. Obviously, he's more of an attacking-minded midfielder. And I think we'll still go for a sort of 1 in the middle and the front, like a front 3, number 10, and then 2 holding midfielders. I think That's an Ollie classic, and I think he's going to be very much aware of their attacking presence. And then we can obviously get him on the counter, and I think they will play or try to play exactly how they did when we beat them 5-0.
I just love how you had to point out, not that we just beat them, but when we beat them 5-0, which was only about 3 or 4 weeks ago as well. Just to really
put some more positivity and instill some more confidence into everybody. You know, this is something we've done and we can do again.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens.
Barry, for yourself, I noticed a different range of medicine we're going into now, but we're going to get your opinion on it. Psychologically, as Mark brought up earlier on, we have, and he said a few times, we have beaten them 5-0. So should Ollie set up with basically no fear? Should he, because of that would be playing on their minds, or should it be very conservative and just be there to make it an ugly game to just get the victory?
No, I don't think he can go there to make it an ugly game, but I think he goes there with no fear. To go there with fear is counterproductive. I mean, we've whipped them 5-0 before. It's not going to be 5-0 this time, but, you know, we take 1-0. Yeah. But we'll have to see. But I agree with Mark. I'm sure there'll be 2 holding midfielders. I'm sure they will be McTominay and Matic. And I don't know that he'll play. I think the injuries to Cavani and Martial will determine what the rest of the team is. I think that we'll probably see Cavani on the bench because he might not be fit enough. I don't think Martial will recover from a groin injury, but I might be wrong. But there'll be 2 holding midfielders. And I think that, you know, the other thing is we know that Rashford is nursing the shoulder injury. So that's another cause for concern. Is he good for 90 minutes? But I agree with Mark. 2 holding midfielders. I think that Bruno and Pogba will probably start in addition, which really leaves us only 2 up front, which I expect to be Rashford and Greenwood because of the injuries. And I think that we might see Tuanzebe starting at centre-back as opposed to Lindelof, who's carrying a bit of an injury as well. But it'll be interesting to see. But no fear in going there, but not to go there for a draw. You've got to go there to win the game.
Absolutely. And Oliver, on the last point of our 3 points, I didn't actually realize as Barry was going through there, the amount of injuries that we actually have either feared or like touching on confirmed. We also have a big game next week, next Saturday against City.
Big game,
Slightly big game against, you know, the noisy neighbours. Should it be a case of put all the big dogs out, start it off, and then hopefully get a couple of goals that we can rest up and then take them off early in the game? Or should it just be the mindset, we have 90 minutes now and then we have 90 minutes on the weekend?
I think in an ideal world, yes, that's what you do, and I think we'd all love to see that. Yeah. But against a team like Leipzig, I'm not sure you can do that. I think they keep going till the end of, you know. And I think you're going to definitely see a 5 at the back, play 3 in midfield and 2 up front. So I think he's got to keep it tight. If we have Telles at left back, as you saw against West Ham, they went there to get at Telles for the space that was left in behind. Obviously Leipzig play, you know, with a sort of strong men up front, Forsberg, maybe a Poulsen, and then get on the pace on the wings. So I think we need cover. I think it'll be two sort of formations depending on the phase, whether we're attacking or defending. And I think we need to soak up pressure and try and get Rashford and Greenwood free. For me, I think they like to play through the lines, so it's going to be a tough battle in midfield. But as we say, you know, they battle all the way over the pitch. I think 5-0 sort of doesn't show the whole story of the game last time. You know, it was 1-0 at half time. It seemed a little bit sort of low in the shoulder in the second half. You know, as soon as you get 2 goals in quick succession, it can happen to most teams where they sort of fold a little bit.
Snowball,
let's be honest, it's not a goal difference sort of thing. It is points in the Champions League groups. So it doesn't really matter if you can rest. But for me, I think we're definitely going to see 5 at the back and then going through transition. Probably a Fosu Mensah wouldn't surprise me. But he does a defensive job, and that's what he needs to be there to do.
We might see him actually.
We're not going to get the best out of Telles.
According to injury table, Edison Cavani has been ruled out. Ollie suggests there, hopefully it's not too bad, but he couldn't carry on. We'll do scans and hopefully be available soon. There's no return date, and it's not giving him a percentage of playing at all. Martial's only 25%, De Gea is 50%, and obviously Luke Shaw 25%.
Hendo, he needs the protection as well. He did well.
Yeah.
But, I think De Gea kept us, was it 3 shots that he saved in the first half against Leipzig last time? And they were good saves. So, I think that's one of those players that shows up for the game. Like Pogba, he was quite brilliant in the, against
he was brilliant. He was very good at the weekend, actually, and I hope he runs on from that.
I don't think he was great in the first half.
You got a goal.
He grew into it. Grew into it, and that's what we need from a player. Hopefully that's him, ring rust gone, and he's back fit and firing against Leipzig, doing what he does 100%. Best.
And Mark, thanks so much for checking out the injury stats. I was convinced you were just playing Doom there or something.
No.
Thanks for being our resident stat man. Okay, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. To see us out, the guys are going to give their predicted scoreline and first goal scorers. So make sure to run down to Paddy Power immediately when Barry says his. Mark, since you started everything, I'm going to start with you again. Go for it. First goal score and final score.
It's going to be a tough one. This, I think we're going to scrape it. So I'm going to go with a 2-1 and first goal scorer. I think maybe Bruno again. I feel like if you don't say Bruno, I think you're probably odds on not to win. I think he'll get the first goal, and I think we'll I think 2-1 is probably my score prediction. I think.
Yeah, that was very I
apologize. That was so wordy on that one.
It was so non-committal. It was like, I think it might be 2-1, maybe. I don't. Yeah, it could be Bruno.
The thing is, you can never be so sure about it these days. You feel like you've had a great game against Everton, for example. You had a great game against them. You're like, we're picking up some form now. We got match fitness, and then you're like, it's a surefire win against West Brom and only 1-0. Do you know what I mean? So I'm always a little bit apprehensive with results sometimes.
Mark, you make it feel like we're going to be coming to your house with like pitchforks if you get the scoreline and the first goal scorer wrong. Now, Oliver, with conviction, just 4 words or whatever. With conviction.
It's going to be a high-scoring win for United. I think they've shown that they are all on song scoring. I think it's going to be a tough affair, but 3-2 for United. Rashford brace.
But first goal, then Rashford as well, yeah?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you went a bit too exotic there, Al.
I like to be exotic, Joe.
No, oh, God. Barry, take us home, baby.
Yeah, I think it'll be a hard-fought 2-2 draw, and I think Leipzig will score first.
I don't know any of their players there, so I can't tell you. I can't fill in someone there. Højbjerg, I think, does he play for them?
It won't be up on Ricardo.
I love that. I love Mark. Again, that's the most wonderfully non-committal. I know it won't be up in Meccano because he's not playing. You should really work for Paddy Power. For me to fill in for Ben, I'm going to give his every week scoreline and every week first goal scorer. 3-1 to United with Greenwood scoring first. And I guarantee you it'll happen this week because I said it and not Ben. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and let's all pray for 3 points. Make sure to find all the guys on their channel. Make sure to comment with your own selection on your own lineup on the YouTube link, and also like my one and not the other guys' lineups. So, guys, have a lovely day. 3 points are coming.